Hey there, and today I want to be talking about the Pelikan M805 Stresemann, which is a name that I'm not even going to pretend like I know how to pronounce. But as always, we're just going to do a parts of the pen, we're going to do a writing sample, and lastly I'll give you guys kind of my thoughts about this pen. So let's just get right into the pen. First of all, we have the box. This is the generic Pelikan box. Every single Pelikan pen comes with this box. And it's good enough, honestly. It's nothing crazy, like I said in the M1000 video, but it's good enough as a gift box. There's not much else that you need a box for. So you get this leaflet on the bottom, along with the tag that comes with the pen when you first buy it. There's really nothing else to it, so let's toss that aside. Let's get into the pen itself. So here it is, the Pelikan M805. Now before we talk about the pen, I want to talk a bit more about its name. The M805, the 05 stands for the fact that this pen has rhodium plated embellishments and nibs, as opposed to an M800 or, an M1000, which has gold embellishments and nibs. It really doesn't sound like much, but it makes a huge difference in terms of visual appearance. And I'll talk more about this in my opinion part of the video. Now, this particular variant of the M805 with the stripes is named after Gustav Stresemann, hence the Stresemann in its name. And the stripes are actually taken from a specific type of suit called a stroller suit. It's trying to mimic the stripes on kind of the long pants on this suit. And quite fittingly, the stroller suit in German is called Stresemann. So I kind of do see that. But anyways, that's enough about the name of the pen. Let's get into the parts of the pen itself. So here we have the top finial with the baby pelican and the mother pelican. The engraving is done very well. Great use of negative space to really get the logo to pop. Of course, all of this is rhodium plated. Then beneath that, there's a few step downs to the clip itself. The clip is that iconic pelican beak that we've all grown to know and love. And there's some engraving here, but that's not factory. I had that done afterwards. This clip is not spring-loaded, but it is quite usable. Then the whole cap here is made of precious resin, which, is just another word for plastic. And below that we have the cap band, which says Pelikan Souvenir, Germany. There's just two rings of rhodium-plated metal. And below that is the celluloid body of the pen with the stripes. And this used to be see-through on the more vintage versions, but after 2022, it's all not see-through anymore. What I mean by that is you used to be able to see through these black stripes and see the ink inside, but that's no longer possible. However, if you untwist the cap, this very end section is still see-through, and I'll demonstrate what I mean. It's kind of hard to show, but you can kind of see under bright light, there's just a bit of light passing through the pen barrel itself. If I tilt it to its side, you see the ink covers it up. And if I let it sit for a second, you can see it again. It's really, really hard to notice though. And if I'm having to shine a whole light into the pen just to see the ink, well, I don't think this feature is very usable. So honestly, it might as well just be an opaque barrel. Taking off the cap, that's about one whole rotation, and here we have the section and the nib. The section is relatively small, but no complaints there. The threads are very nice and smooth, very subdued, so even if your fingers are holding onto it, there's no real discomfort to talk about. Let's take a closer look at the nib. So here is a very close-up shot of the nib, and this is just a magnificent looking nib. I think Pelikan nibs are one of the best looking nibs on the market, and you can see the beautiful scroll work with, again, the baby pelican and the mother pelican, and you can also see this is a fine nib. This is rhodium plated and it's not dual toned, which for this pen I think that's a good thing, because I really do not think a dual tone nib would fit the vibe and the color scheme for this pen. But this is the nib, and it comes with a plastic feed. Okay, in terms of size comparisons, let's make this one quick because there's only two pens that you guys really need to see. The M1000 and the Lamy Safari. Now, if you put the M1000 next to the M805, wow, shocker, it's bigger. Well, that's crazy. Anyways, it's bigger, obviously, it's thicker, obviously, as you can tell. Can you tell? Okay, it might be a bit hard to see on camera, but it is definitely thicker, and you feel that thickness in your hand. Yeah, so it's bigger, it's thicker, but then again, the number is bigger by 195. So, where's the surprise there? And compare the Lamy Safari to the M805, it's honestly about the same length. And in terms of thickness, it's close. You know, the pen barrel is definitely thicker, but in terms of cap width, they're about the same. But yeah, when I hold this pen in my hand, it feels thicker than the Lamy Safari, but it doesn't feel, you know, annoyingly big. It doesn't feel like it's trying to be something way too extravagant, which, you know, I like that. But anyways, with that, it's time for a writing sample. Okay, here we are, time for a writing sample. Here we have the Pelikan. That's just such a smooth pen. M805 Stresemann. I forgot the Souverain, but forgive me. This has an 18 karat gold nib, and it is a fine. And the ink is a mystery. I have no idea what ink this is. I got it as a sample from one of my friends. It's a brilliant ink. It starts off like kind of bluish in hue, and then it turns to kind of a deeper, less saturated kind of green color, which I really do like. But I guess I'll never know what it is. The paper, as always, is Tomoe River. Well, he says always, but he's only done one video with it. And here we go with the classic. These are not skips. I kind of just lifted the pen off the page. This is just a brilliant writer, very smooth, very consistent ink flow, but it is a relatively stiffer nib. It's not very flexible. I'm pushing it, not a whole lot, but enough to get normal flexier nibs to flex. And as you can see, you're barely getting anything. This pen basically does not do flex. It's not bouncy as you write with it. It's just a very solid slab of 18 karat gold. As for line variation, this is a fine nib, so we are not really seeing any stubbiness. That was a skip there, not sure why. And in terms of wetness, it sure is on the wetter end of the spectrum. And oh, last time I forgot to do faster writing. So let's do fast writing here. As you can see, the nib keeps up just fine. It really is a brilliant writer. Now it does have a slight bit of feedback to it, but still the pen is extremely smooth, and when you write with it, I just feel like the words are so much more precise, and my handwriting looks better with it than other pens. That's just how I feel. Anyways, on to the opinion part of the pen. Okay, now it's time for me to blabber on about my opinions on this pen. So, I really do like this pen. I'm not sure if you've been able to tell throughout the whole video, but I really do like this pen. Very subjectively in terms of looks, I think this pen looks absolutely amazing. I actually like it, in terms of looks, more than the M1000, because the gold is honestly a bit too much for me, and the green is also a bit too much for me. I mean, don't get me wrong, it looks great. It looks really, really classy, but it looks a bit like it's trying too hard. It's too out there. This pen is just really understated. And it just looks really professional. You know, this looks like a businessman who's been in the game for like 40 plus years. This just looks like a great pen, a very civilized pen. And I love the rhodium plating. But again, that's just very personal. It writes great. The nib writes awesome, very smooth. Stiffer than the M1000, but I find that to be a good thing because sometimes the M1000 nib can be like too soft and too springy to the point where it doesn't feel as stable on the page, and it can be a bit too smooth at the same time. which if you combine those two things, it really gets a bit harder to control, which for this pen, I don't really feel as much of a problem. And size comes into play as well, because this pen is honestly the perfect size for my hand. The M1000 is just slightly too big, and you couple that with the issues I talked about before, you know, the springiness and the overly smoothness of the nib, and that pen is just, you know, it's quite a beast, and you have to tame it on the paper. Not saying that it's not good, right? I'm just saying it can get a bit out of hand. This doesn't do that. This is very refined. This is very tuned. It's a very civilized writing experience. Every single word just looks exactly the same when you write with this pen. The quality of the pen is good. I mean, it's plastic, celluloid plastic, but it's really good quality plastic, and there's like brass or some kind of metal used in the piston mechanism, which makes it a little weighty in the hand when you write with it, which is, you know, that feels good. And it holds 1.7 milliliters of ink with the piston mechanism, that's a nice addition to have, especially when the pen is sort of on the wetter side. For me, this pen is just a really, really good workhorse pen. It's not too out there. It really bonds well with my hand. It writes great. It writes amazing. The nib is great. This is one of those pens that I can pick up and write for hours and hours at a time and enjoy it every single second of those few hours. However, it's not really anything special, if you know what I mean. Like, it's not made from volcanic rocks. It doesn't store alcohol in the back. You know, it's not overly huge. It's not overly small. It's not overly flexy, and is not made with some crazy materials, or it doesn't have some crazy swirls on the pen, which it could be a good thing or a bad thing, right? But I'm just trying to say that it's nothing crazy, you know, it's just a pen. It's just a reliable writing instrument, and it will always work when you need it to, and you will look professional while you use it. Which brings me kind of to the price. This is $520 on Amazon, because I haven't seen it listed on any of the online pen retailers. Now, $520 is a lot of money, so you're gonna have to decide for yourself whether this pen is worth that to you. Again, like I say in most of my videos, if you can trust a second-hand reseller, you know, do that instead. And if you really just want the writing experience and you don't care too much for the looks of the pen, get the normal M800 and perhaps even get it secondhand. I'm pretty sure you can find that for a lot cheaper, and it will deliver basically the same writing experience, because, you know, looks don't really change too much. So that's all I have to say. Thanks for watching, and bye-bye.